Yes, sir. We are back. NBA Finals Round 2. This is your guy, Marcellus Ease. And SGA definitely got into his bag. Playmaking for his teammates, getting them involved early, and that opened up things for him to chef up in the mid-range. But in this segment right here, we're going to get deeper into some of the nuances. Isaiah Hartenstein and his effect on the Oklahoma City Thunder's offense, as far as them getting a bit more ball movement. And also Tyrese Haliburton, only 5 points up until the third quarter. But we're going to dive deep into what really gets him going. What is his true player archetype? Because the way the league's national media tries to market him as a star, his game is really unconventional to those previous archetypes. So we'll dive deeper into that. And finally, we'll touch base on the Oklahoma City Thunder's defense, because they turned it up a notch into a whole nother level, possibly that the Pacers could never ever duplicate when it comes to that type of athleticism and speed. But hey, I'm not going to say no more. Let's just get to it.
I guess that's what happens when someone's scoring, throwing dimes, doing the whole thing. So I get mad too.
I'll go right.
Now, to start this off, there has been quite a bit of discussion on Tyrese Haliburton and his player archetype. Because make no mistake about it, he's not one of these guys that are going to take plays off the dribble like Donovan Mitchell, Damian Lillard, SGA, and so forth. The best analogy I could have for Tyrese is that he's almost like an off-ball Rajon Rondo. And this sequence right here is a perfect scenario showcasing this. He's going to get a dribble handoff right here from Turner. He's also going to get a screen on Chet. See, once they free him up, then his options begin to open up. And let's just say if SGA came out early and helped out, and also J-Dub stunted in a little bit more, clogging up his lane right here, he would kick out to the open shooters. A lot of Haliburton's opportunities offensively come off ball. And you know who would be a great fit alongside him in reality? Would be a prime Chris Middleton or a player like Kevin Durant. The ultimate catch and shoot, not too many volume shots, fit into any offensive system type of players. Because Tyrese would really thrive if he averaged 20 points per game and over 11 assists. And any of those players I just mentioned, they would average anywhere from 25 points per game, but also the Pacers will continue with their community-based offense. And with the Oklahoma City Thunder just having so much speed, this is why Tyrese, in his first 7 quarters of the NBA Finals, going into the fourth quarter of Game 2, he only had 19 points. The speed of the Thunder perimeter players are just way too much for him. Caruso, Dort, SGA, Case and Wallace. Sometimes the NBA media has that title of superstar a little bit too one-dimensional. And Tyrese does not quite fit in that box, and it's not necessarily something bad. It's his stardom is a little bit different. For example, here's another play right here. 2 screens. He's kind of using right here Thomas Bryant as a screen to get this 3 off. But he's not the kind of player that's just going to dribble through a bunch of guys and set up his own shot. You see right here, he gets to switch on Chet. It's not in his bag to shake him off right here and to get the shot off. It goes right into a turnover. That right there is not his game. And here's another example. It's not like Tyrese is going to take 20 shots a game trying to set guys up like this. That's something we've always seen along the lines of a SGA, a Damian Lillard, a Donovan Mitchell. He's not that type of player. A lot of it's going to be off ball. It's going to be a lot of movement. But the conundrum for them is dealing with that pressure, that ball pressure and speed coming from the Thunder defense. This is a nice example here. Look at the Thunder off this rebound. Check out Lou Dort. Look where he's at. He's almost next to the high post. Check out Lou Dort. Look where he's at. He's at the nail. But look at the recovery. They're sliding his feet. Man, Lou Dort is good moving laterally. See that little bump right there? It may seem like nothing. But when you get a couple of plays like that in a row, where Tyrese knows guys are closing out real quick, it begins to change players' psyche a little bit. And it happens gradually. Check out Lou Dort right here. You know he's going to fight off this screen and close out quick. Tyrese has been feeling that pressure, that heat on him since game 1. And right here, it causes him to pass up on this 3-point shot. but he still ends up taking a contested shot. You see that Oklahoma City speed got the Pacers acting out of character. Check out this closeout right here after this blitz on Tyrese. Naismith is open for a split second, but Cason Wallace with an excellent block. Let's look at that again in real time. Here comes the blitz. Look at that recovery. Sheesh. And that's what I mean. It's those incremental plays that kind of build up a different reaction, a different habit that the Pacers normally have when it comes to just them gathering up their shots, the way they act around the perimeter when it comes to certain pick and roll or certain actions overall. They know the Pacers are closing out quick. They might rush their shots a little bit extra, which could lead up to different kind of releases. And that's why we see their role players, as well as some of their starters who normally knock down threes, are not converting as well in the first two games. Again, with the Pacers, this is completely different than what they were used to in the previous series. As you can see right here, there's a couple of screens going on right here, almost a double drag, but Tyrese rejects it. And look, these type of double screens have always thrown off teams like the Knicks. They don't have guys that are in sync. Mikal normally should be reacting to Naismith. That's the difference with this Thunder team. These guys are more in sync, and they close out on these shooters quick. You see? Look at Brunson push Mikal Bridges on his play. And the reason I point out that game 4 with the Knicks, the matchup in which Tyrese Haliburton had 30 points, 15 assists, and 12 rebounds on 0 turnovers, is that a lot of the transition points that they got, the Thunder are completely eliminating that. They controlled the Pacers' transition offense, locking that out in the first 2 games, so Tyrese does not have that option. And that's where a lot of their creativity comes from. Some of the sporadicness on teams recovering early in transition, they exploit that. The teams that they faced in the playoffs previously, the Cavs, the Knicks, the Bucks, they're much slower in the perimeter. And it's been quite of an adjustment for Tyrese Haliburton as well as the other Pacer players, especially their role players, whose bench units normally contribute more versus other teams. They're going to have to get it together because that speed has completely thrown them off. And for Tyrese Haliburton, unlike the Knicks series, there is no Karl-Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson to exploit on the floor. That's why it was a great adjustment by the Thunder by starting the finals by adding Cason Wallace to that starting unit. But going back to Haliburton, another issue he's been having that's been messing up his offensive flow is not getting a solid screen. Lou Dort has been avoiding these screens and sticking to Haliburton, very similar to what Naismith was doing to Jalen Brunson in the last series. Lou Dort defensively in the first 2 games of this series has been amazing. Here it is again. Tyrese can't get no separation. Look at Caruso, goes right around that. And he's going to get stripped by SGA. Again, the Pacers are going to have to switch up a few things. For starters, I would say their bigs are going to have to dominate in their matchups. Miles Turner and especially Pascal Siakam. That's where the most damage is really going to come from. It's going to be Pascal. Here's a prime example here. Pascal, he gets the switch on SGA. They got to capitalize on those. Most of the Thunder's smaller players have done a great job in getting in front of any bigs. Miles Turner, Pascal, Thomas Bryant, etc. Here's another opportunity. Most offensive possessions, Pascal is going to draw a mismatch. He can't necessarily gain position quickly on SGA, and he pulls the rug from underneath him and he gets to travel. Here's another missed opportunity. Check out Thomas Bryant. He's on one of the Thunder's smallest players, Isaiah Joe. I believe he's only $170. Does a great job staying in front of him, making it hard for him to even get an opportunity. This is one of the areas the Pacers are going to have to make it a priority to execute on a higher level. Because the Thunder, just like the Pacers, they don't really turn the ball over like that. So if the Pacers are not creating turnovers, they're not going to get those transition buckets as easily. And they're already having issues dealing with the speed. They don't like to play the half-court game. So they're going to have to utilize areas that they have full advantages. And the size that they have with Pascal and Turner, you got to get it where you fit in. Now jumping to the Oklahoma City Thunder's offense, I got to say Isaiah Hartenstein, while he was on the floor, the ball movement, the screening, as we see it right here, early screen, planting it right on Nembhard, kind of freeing up SGA to go downhill. But Isaiah Hartenstein consistently throughout this game, his passing was on point. Every time he got the ball, he had some quick decision making. Is right here. This is a nice pass to Isaiah Joe. And sometimes this Oklahoma City Thunder offense gets stale. As right here, he doesn't hold on to the ball too long. He's looking to get into an action, or he just takes it himself. And this is something that they needed. Hartenstein at times is a glue to this offense, just moving the ball from one side of the court to the next. He's almost like the much needed bigger body in the paint to receive the ball. See at the nail in a position like this. And he's big enough to play make and see over other guys. This is really what they're missing at times. The Thunder's offseason moves are starting to pay dividends. The addition of Alex Caruso makes their team deeper with perimeter defenders. The very thing that haunted them last season, going up against the Dallas Mavericks in the Western Conference Finals. Jalen Williams spending so much energy on the defensive side dealing with Kyrie kind of hurt them offensively. And the addition of Hartenstein fills in the gap of just them lacking size with the rebounding and also a high IQ off-ball athletic center who can set solid screens, knows how to operate out of the short roll, make the proper reads and passes. And that's the beauty with SGA just being able to cook in this game, already playmaking. It opened things up for other guys like Isaiah Hartenstein on the offensive end out of that short roll to make things happen. And make no mistake about it, SGA was in his bag, showing off why he is MVP. Tyrese Haliburton tries to hard hedge right here. SGA is going to split it. And again, staying patient. Of course, he collapses the paint with defenders, and he's reading his options. Gilgeous-Alexander was definitely in his groove, but he knew when to use it. As right here, he's going to attack this empty space. And as the defense collapses, once he puts on this step right here, usually his shot is coming. But he's going to pass Isaiah Joe open right here. Get his teammates flowing. Keep the defenses guessing. And he easily could have took a shot right there. Once again, he was hot from the field. I mean, in his first 2 games in the finals, having a total of 72 points. I mean, he was set up to take any shot he wanted. But again, it's knowing when and when not to use it. It's been sort of an Achilles heel for SGA and this Oklahoma City Thunder's offense. That's how they allowed the Denver Nuggets to steal game 1 and also game 3. Of course, SGA has the green light to take any shot he wants. But when players get into the NBA Finals, there's an adjustment that needs to be made. We've seen Jason Tatum as well as Jaylen Brown struggle with this in their first Finals appearance going up against the Golden State Warriors back in 2022. The playmaking was off. And they were really indecisive at times, forcing themselves to take tougher shots than they needed to take. And in Game 2 in this year's Finals, we're seeing that maturation point hitting for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, knowing when to use the fact that he's hot in other ways to his advantage outside of shooting. Here's a perfect example right here. Look at SGA split the screen. Now right here, notice who's going to help, Naismith or Tyrese. Who's going to stunt in more? That's one way he could actually exploit them, or if they don't stunt enough, maybe he takes it up on his own. But look at the way he attacks right here. Naismith is stepping up. Nice find to J-Dub. It's kind of crazy how when you look at the generation of SGA, Jason Tatum, and Luka, they all struggled with this. But at the end of the day, Luka is a little bit different. Luka is not necessarily the decision-making or the playmaking. It's really him being in shape and committing on the defensive end. It's very ironic, but those 3 players are definitely in the same generation, and it's beyond just their era. Great players of the past have struggled with their decision-making either in the finals or leading up, getting into the finals. Perfect example is LeBron James in 2009 going up against the Boston Celtics. Couldn't quite get over that hump. Also, Kobe Bryant in the 2004 NBA Finals struggled to adjust to that Pistons defense. LeBron James in the 2011 NBA Finals had the same struggle against the Dallas Mavericks. Michael Jordan, 1989 against the Detroit Pistons, couldn't quite get over the hump. Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook in the 2012 NBA Finals and so forth and so forth. It's just going through the Rolodex, but these things tend to repeat itself, and it's just part of the process. I mean, there's a couple plays that's not going to make the highlight reel as he rejects the screen right here, but he leaves Mathurin in the dust. Woo! I mean, just look at the footwork right here, the shiftiness. Again, him being so hot just allowed him to read the game a lot better. See, now the defense, they're going to react different, and his options begin to open up. You got Lou Dort for alley. I'm not sure his vertical can hit that, but he also got J-Dub, so he has options. So things look a lot different when they don't force up a lot of shots. Like right here, this was really rare for SGA to kind of try to draw this foul, kind of force it up a little bit. He has options. And again, shots like that is exactly what hurt them going down in the stretch of some of these games. I mean, you see SGA and J-Dub forcing up shots like that repeatedly, and that's why teams slowly came back. It happened in Game 4 with the T-Wolves series, and it also happened in Game 1 and 3 in the Nuggets series. Those exact shots, those exact possessions, barely a pass, barely any passing inside of the arc, and then they're just waiting for SGA to take a tough step back, or even sometimes J-Dub, he attacks when his shot is not on, and he's taking a really tough floater, tough kind of contested shot from the elbows. So it is what it is. This matchup was still a little bit strange and kind of hard to judge because the Oklahoma City Thunder had two bench players in Alex Caruso and Aaron Wiggins that had more points than any of the Pacers starters, but yet the three-point shooting from both teams was very similar. So the Pacers are going to kind of have to utilize their big men to have more of a paint presence because that's where they gave up majority of their points. And also with the Pacers bigs, they're going to have to set solid screens to get guys off of Tyrese Haliburton, get him more space coming off those screens so he could work his way, work his magic going downhill. That's something that kind of hurt them throughout this matchup. Lou Dort has done a great job avoiding a lot of these screens. So it's a tricky matchup. The Pacers bench, once again, only had 34 points, and the Thunder bench had 48. So that's something that kind of hurt them at the end of this. We'll see how it plays out. Until next time, you fellas stay safe. Peace.